Hey, welcome to Tips for a Better Life. And today I got a special guest on the show, Anthony Aramini. He's an online entrepreneur, personal leadership expert, motivational author, and founder of characterdevelopmentmastery.com. And he has a brand new book out which is called Pave Your Path: How to Effectively Get Anything You Want in Life. First of all, I want to congratulate you on the book, man. You must be very excited about it.
Oh yeah, and first and foremost, I just appreciate you taking the time to reach out and just share that love and support because I know you and I truly originated on the same online forum, which was the non-job campaign. And even though you and I never physically met each other in real life, I always believed there was a similarity between our paths because we're both really in alignment with personal growth and how it really does apply to entrepreneurship. It doesn't matter if you're a Fortune 500 executive or you're an online entrepreneur, just really doing vlogging and using vlogging as a segue to deepen the relationship community so we can truly provide a significant amount of value to them. So yeah, man, I'm really pumped. I do appreciate the opportunity. And about the book launch, it was about 2 months ago. I was at the pinnacle of my real estate career. So they
Mm-hmm.
call me a top producer. And since money was never an issue, I realized, okay, I'm not the only person who's A, doing this, but two,
Mm-hmm.
uh, can use the principles that I'm living through. And I'm very confident if I'm to share these principles with other people on a global level via a book, YouTube videos and everything like that, we can really create a lot of success within people's life. And I use that word very humbly, success. I'm not talking about just making just getting a huge following out on
Mm-hmm.
social media. It was never about that. Like I'm talking about real tangible change that if people already grow through, and the keyword is grow through, they're going to change the quality of their life in a very significant way. I'm talking about more money, more focus, more motivation that's just constant, more creativity, a bigger desire to want to serve others so they can leverage that energy and transcend it into other areas of their life, like service into business, which is self-love accumulating from within, right? What is a desire in life? What is it that I really want? But to take that self-love, apply it to your wellness, making sure you're going out to the gym and getting in that physical fitness. And then taking that self-love and then transcending it into your relationship, being with a significant other and ensuring that you're deepening the love consistently, courting, and really just having greatness within every single area of your life. So that was one of the main contexts of the book and my deepest motivation to literally publish a book in a month and then by the second month extend that ebook to something much greater, which is a 1.5 hour audiobook. So literally Saturday night, I came into my real estate office at 11:50 in the night, recognizing that at 23 years of age, there's average 23-year-olds who are going out to the club, they're going out to the pub, they're going out and doing mindless things to create
Mm-hmm.
distractions because they're just so unaware from their goals. And I said, all right, you know what? If I have a desire to want to create a bigger legacy, it cannot be all about me. It cannot be, well, I want to go out and smoke weed. It can't be, I want to go out and drink. It's got to be people are tangibly sending me messages. You got to speak the book. Can you speak the book? Speak the book. I want to hear you and what you have to say. I want to hear you go on these tangents. So there's got to be a way that I can cut the space no matter what's going on within my life, making appointment after appointment after appointment in my real estate business, getting referrals here, going to showings here, signing deals here. Like I had literally 1 week where I made over 4 grand just in rentals and all the business came to me. But yeah, go ahead.
Now I want to you in front of me I see like a very energetic, charismatic, inspirational guy who got like a very strong of purpose and self-confidence. But what really inspired me and what I thought was really interesting, if you listen or read to the first chapters of your book, you were a guy who struggled with boulimia, low self-image, weed addiction, porn addiction, social pressure. How did you become the person who is sitting in front of me now? Seemed like the place where you were at then, family violence, that you became this person. I think a lot of people will be interested in what made you change. How did you become the person who you are right now? What made you tick?
Right, right. So what made me tick to go from such a low level of
Yeah,
self-esteem, bulimia, depression,
exactly.
given my origin? Yeah, so gratefully and humbly. I've been an individual who, like you said, grew up in an environment where my father was dangerously
Hmm.
abusive. Like by the age of 3, walking into my kitchen from, I think it
Wow.
was kindergarten when I remember clearly, being dropped home from my godparents and literally seeing my mom being strangled up against the wall with her face almost turning blue, meaning she's about to die. And me seeing that and recognizing that was an almost everyday thing.
Hmm.
Like I wrote that in the book, but that was almost an every single day thing. And then for him to run me towards my room, or for me to run in my room and hide under my covers, and him just constantly beat the living crap out of me, the first thing it did was it taught me a lot of discipline. I mean, we got to keep it real. It makes you think about the things you're doing, but at a very early age. And I'm going to talk about the pluses and
Hmm.
minuses of all of this. I'm not saying I believe in at all family violence. I'm just grateful to have experienced it and leveraged the essence of meaning for an experience to create it. So when I'm into bed and my dad's beating the living crap out of me, and it gets me thinking about my decisions and how they are affecting my future. Like if I do this, my dad's going to get pissed. He's going to beat the living crap out of me, or he might beat the living crap out of my mom. So that definitely helped me out when I got older, and we'll lead into that in a second. But what it also did, and this is a very common theme, is it got me thinking in a very fearful and negative way, right? So if I do this, something really bad's going to happen. My dad's going to keep a belt, true story, a belt on the
Wow.
outside of my door, so that if I make even the slightest noise, he's going to come in my room and just beat the living crap out of me. So when I got older, that created such a big social pressure for me that if I did bad in school, well, I'm
You
going to
got
get the living
punished.
crap beaten out of me. If Oh yeah, absolutely. If I don't know how to read, there's going to be some type of punishment. So no matter what I do in my life, there's always going to be some type of fear and negative vibe associated with it. So that happened when I was about, let's say, from the age of being born till about the age of 5. And then when I was about 5 to 10, my mom finally separated with my dad, gratefully. And I was in school, but my dad would always come around to my school and simply just traumatically traumatize my life. Like walking out of school, my dad would be like, "Hey, don't hang out with Anthony Aramini. He's an American gypsy, but he'll connive you, he'll steal from you, he'll do all these different things that are going to step into your head and really just brainwash you into believing something that's really bad, and then he'll take everything from you." And not coolly, but there was a lot of people throughout that time who believed him. And for me, it caused me to have an isolation since a very early
Yeah,
age.
because
So I,
you were a gypsy, you were dealing with your dad blaming you, you had to conform, so you must have felt like an outsider when you were growing up.
yeah, big time, man, big time. Like just the essence of being labeled a gypsy, and our culture though, it is a real culture. We have our own language that's not written. We have our culture where like most of my cousins have prearranged marriages. So for me, even being surrounded by that, I've always been surrounded in a sphere of people who think very limited minded. And I say that with love because the essence of what I do today is to get people to think expansively on every area of their life. But growing up in that stage where your mom, your uncle, your cousins, they're all pressuring, "Oh, you got to marry a gypsy girl. You got to marry a gypsy girl. Here, meet this girl. Here, come to this party." But then realizing, okay, I'm gonna marry a girl that I don't know. Two, I'm giving my personal power away for someone else to dictate the life I live. Three, I don't have the opportunity to go to school, to finish high school, to finish college like my cousins don't. But then it's if I go to work, I got to do labor jobs, roofing, selling cars, doing driveway pavings, doing some type of manual labor that doesn't allow me to intellectually to build a team and to really delve deep into what it is I'm truly passionate about.
And was
So
there like a defining moment that you said like enough is enough? I'm finally gonna pave my own path and not be scared anymore? Or was it something that gradually evolved? What was the defining point or moment that made you pave your own path?
yeah, so this is where things start to get interesting, and I wanted to take you through that journey without trying to just give you the answer
Okay.
because the details matter. When I was 12 to 15, I found my first passion in life, which was street skateboarding. And being born and raised and then brought up in a neighborhood where 90% of it was adversity, where like your mom knew people are just gang violence. You don't want to be there. People are getting shot. There's cops always going around over there. And if you go situate yourself around them, you know, somebody being so young, not recognizing what's really great, what's really bad for you, if you surround yourself with these people, a lot of bad things could happen to your life. Now, I intuitively knew something bad would happen if I surrounded myself with those people. My brother, on the other hand, had no idea because he was at the age, and we see this a lot in psychology. You and I both know because we study this a lot. Age 17 till about 19, we go through that rebellious phase, right? So my brother, having witnessed this, and he's 2 years older than me. When I was 5, he was 7. When I was 15, he's 17. So at the age of 17, in his perspective, when my mom's saying, don't do this, just as any rebellious 17-year-old, is going to go ahead and do it. So by the time he was in that sphere, 2 years later, doing drugs, getting arrested, getting into fights constantly, I have to see that. My mom, who's one of my biggest inspirations, you know, a lot of people ask me, how do I get my sales skills? My mom, she's been the general manager of a Valley Total Fitness. Within her first year there, grew from being a salesperson, general manager, 6 figures. Next year, got the car for her dreams. And so she's been a huge inspiration on that side. But there was a long period of separation where she'd have to go to work every single day, and nobody would be at home living with me. So it would just be me and my brother. My brother would do his thing. I would do my thing, go out and skate. That was my essence of creativity and the unleashing of passion. And I never knew why. But every day, you know, we'd have kids come over and party and all these different things. Long story short, my mom finally realized the dangers of being in an environment where we're at right there. And there's got to be a change that happens, or my brother's going to continuously get jumped. He's going to continue to get arrested. And I was around about that time. My freshman year of high school, I didn't go. My guidance counselor called me up one day and said, Anthony, it's already June 12th. You have 46 days in total of being in school. What's going on? And so finally you do the research and you realize, well, all right, Anthony went to a high school that was 2 hours away from him by public transportation. And when he went to the school, he had to be in school at 11:30. It wasn't first period to 8 period, but 11th period to 4:30. And when he went to school, there was another school nearby that shut down that was filled with adversity. So it made 95% of the school as it is African American, Hispanic, and Russian. And all these people are all fighting against one another every single day. That me being a white minority, walking to school, I'm threatening to get jumped. My brother's getting into fights, and I got to fight for my life. And that was such a dangerous and life-changing experience because it teaches you got to be careful of who you surround yourself with. It's okay to understand that not everybody's going to be on your side. But 2, you've got to know how to fight back. When life punches you in the face, you've got to know how to fight back. It could be physically, it could be emotionally, it could be spiritually. But if you can't use your hands or your mouth, without a lack of a better word, you're fucked. So I'm going to get to the ending here. Finally made the transition to move from Brooklyn out to Bayonne, New Jersey, which I live right here. And the first thing that went to my mind was, what a different place. Like, there's no adversity here. And the ghetto and where I live is like, you could live there very comfortably, have a great life, never worry about getting jumped or shot. Me going to high school, and you already see, you know, I had an afro. My way of being was so different.
Yeah.
I'm the kid who's saying, yo, don't talk to me, man. I'm from Brooklyn. Like even my vocabulary was different. I was the kid who was ghetto, defined by the streets.
Yeah.
And so when I finally realized I'm throwing my life away, it came down to a pinnacle moment where I was suffering with low self-esteem. I finally realized that I had a lot of depression. I had no confidence in my skills. I was very afraid to approach women. I didn't know what it was that I want. I'd wake up, ask myself those questions, you know, who am I? Why do I exist? What do I want? What do I want to eat today? Well, you know what? I'll have 2 chocolate chip Eggo waffles or 4, chocolate syrup, whipped cream, 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream for breakfast. Then go to school for breakfast every single day. then take 4 cans of Pepsi, sneak them into school past the metal detectors, and then literally like have an essence that was so destruct my habits. Finally, homeroom came, sitting down in homeroom, and my nurse calls me down to the nurse's office, and she says, get on the weight scale. We're going to take your last checkup of the year. And then finally, me stepping on the scale, and she just bursts out into laughing. And I'm saying, why are you laughing? Was there something that I missed? And she says, well, if you take a look at the numbers here now, she's trying to compose herself, but take a look at the numbers here and you're going to realize 3 months ago, you were 255 pounds, like 3 to 4 months ago, but now you're 305 pounds. So you can't tell me for a moment, A, you exercise because you're bullshitting me, and then B, that you're not going through something. But rather than her helping me, what I realized was she put me in a stage in my life where I kind of just contemplated every moment, got sick and tired of being sick and tired, went home, finally stared at myself for the first time in 17 years, asked myself, who do I see? Took a before picture and said, if there's anything else that I can feel like in this moment to ensure that I never experience what I'm going through right now, what would that be? How would it look like? How do I want to feel? And everything like that. And then recognize, finally, the first decision I need to make was take a before picture and just get a gym membership. And that was it.
So it's almost like, because I see this happening a lot, and it also happened with me, that at a certain stage you got to like hit rock bottom, look in that mirror, and then you see your future. And you realize, if I'm going to keep on continuing like this is what my future will look like. And what I noticed about you is that deep down inside, there was something like self-reflexive about you that already knew that you weren't going the right way, that you have to pave your own path. Do you think people should hit rock bottom to have the motivation to change their life? And to finally look into that mirror to realize this is not me?
Right. I think that's a great powerful question. The question of, do you think people should hit rock bottom in order for them to make the transition? I'll keep it real with you. It'll help. It'll help a lot. But is it essential? No, it's definitely not essential, because I realized I've always been the person who I am today, always been ambitious, but in different areas. And it didn't take pain for me to get into business and then be really great at wanting to be a better business developer, right? But it took me to have a lot of pain to make the physical habitual transformation for me to grow. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I'm a coach, so I work with people who don't go through any rock bottoms. But at the same time, we really tap into the things that are most important to them, such as their core values, right? Doesn't matter what stage of development you're in your life. But there's a lot of gurus out there who would tell you your first step of creating massive change and direction in your life is to situate your vision. I'm a little bit against that. And I say that with humbleness because how are you going to define your vision if your belief system has been given to you by another person? Could have been your boss, could have been your parents, could have been your friends, could have been your coworkers. So they're talking to you about the things they love, but you lack self-awareness. You don't even know what the things you believe in life are, because you've just been reading book after book after book, watching video, article, surrounding yourself with blasphemy. How about let's take a step away and reflect for a moment and ask ourselves, what are the 11 core values? It could be 8, it could be 7, it could be 5, but I like to use 11 foundational platform for us to set up a life for that leads to a legacy. And I truly believe, your values are the guiding set of philosophies that dictate the decisions that you make based off of what you believe is most important to your life.
Do you have some questions or some tools or some methods for people to write down those 11 values, the questions they should ask, or what method they should use?
Yeah. So I like to keep things very basic. I'm great at being simple. And it's just a simple question of, well, first and foremost, creating the space for you to actually sit down with yourself and recognize there's got to be an opportunity where your friends, and I would invite this to happen. Like, this is the best time to do this. Your friends are asking you to go out. Your parents are asking you to go out. Your significant other's asking you to go out. But you just stating a claim in the ground and saying, no, I've got to do something most important to me right now, and I need your support to grow through this. Because already that decision in itself is going to create an opportunity for you to finally not just identify your values, but to understand that once you identify your values, you're going to have to make a sacrifice living through those values to tell people, well, my friend's inviting me to go out to the bar tonight, or my girlfriend wants to go take a trip right now, but I value wellness. I value vision. I value creativity. I value personal growth and development. So I've got to learn how to use that word no in order for me to live through the values. So once you create that space, my invitation for you, therefore, is use a little bit of meditation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I put together the 7-day guided meditation program that, seems like it's just collecting an email, but it's actually purpose driven. Like I really did create a systematized structure that if you go through and grow through each step, you're going to learn how to meditate to deepen your self-awareness so that by the time you do sit down and identify your values, you're blocking out the noise already of, well, I value love, but my family's telling me, well, family is everything. So maybe I value family first. But that's not particularly true. You're saying it's true because someone else told you it's true and you believe their truth. But what's your truth? You can only do that if you get yourself into space and get your mind in tune with what's going on here, what's going on here, what's going on here. And now we can create a value system that's going to allow us to get into step number 2, which is finally understanding what you really want in reference to your vision. Go ahead.
Exactly. So the first step that people should do is to figure out the values, because the values are kind of like the measurement, the checklist that people should use to move forward in life. After people figure out their core values, what's the next step they should do? Should they focus on their vision, or what's the next step?
Right. So just as I've closed off on the last statement, the second step is defining your vision. And I feel like this is the not the safest, but the most critical place to define your vision, because let's say you're somebody who is constantly scrolling through social media. And so you see a guy by the name of Dan Bazillian, and we all know who he is,
Yeah.
Got tons of women around him, everywhere, shooting guns all the time. And we don't know what he does in his personal time or something like that. So your values are already going to dictate the type of mentors you surround yourself with. And as you create your vision, one of the greatest assets of creating your vision is not just knowing what you want for every single area of your life, but putting yourself in the position to finally evolve into the question, well, who's already got what I want? Who's already built a multi-million-dollar business? Who's already wrote a book? Who's already became a public speaker? Who's already succeeded in online entrepreneurship? Who's already got a great marriage? And let me find a way to get in contact with this person so I can just learn a little bit more about what is it that he's doing or she's doing, understanding that maybe you're not going to align with all of their values, but just seeing them and emulating who they are as a character, you embody some of those, not just values, but the character traits, courage, right? Like Elliot Hulse, and I say this with gratitude, immense levels of gratitude. Elliot Hulse was the first person who I proactively sought out in my life, who gave tremendous value. And we'll get this video to him so we can publicize that, because it's so true. I was at a point, in college, where I was going to college. I had a 4.0 GPA. I was so hard on myself going through bulimia nervosa.
Yeah.
And with the power of the internet, just knowing what I wanted in my life and having an idea of being a successful entrepreneur, I started researching and finally stumbled across spontaneously of this guy, Elliot Hulse.
Mm-hmm.
The spontaneousness was, his video was a search result on YouTube, but it was the proaction of actually searching the thing, right? So there was acknowledgement of my vision. I valued love and optimal wellness and personal growth and quality relationships. I YouTube searched this thing of how to be more charismatic.
Yeah.
True story. Research the question. His video comes up. One video leads into like 10. By the next week, I've watched all of his videos. I'm now messaging this guy, just explaining my gratitude for him. Then finally, a couple months later, being able to meet the guy in person, non-job campaign, which was an event taking place in Tampa. And I don't know how, but after the event, I'm literally walking into a restaurant. He's sitting at the corner at the edge of the table. There's an open seat, one open seat, and I'm saying, how is nobody taking the seat? I'm there. Took the seat. It's me, Elliot. Chris is sitting on the opposite side. His wife comes by. We're shooting the chat. Then his wife and Chris go to one of the table. Elliot and I are sitting there together, and I'm listening. Like, I'm an open book right now. I'm just asking questions, and he's talking to me, and I'm saying, wow, like there's such a valuable point of mentorship that even just being in their presence allowed me to trans to oh my god to transform the quality of my future. You know, I came back, started making YouTube videos, finally got serious into taking my wellness prioritized and everything like that. So setting the values is really key. Knowing what your vision is, because your vision are going to align you with the right mentors that you will need to learn from, because it's not going to influence the decisions you make only, but it's going to influence the character who you become.
Like a question I get, or something that a lot of people tell me is, once they start on their journey of self-development, they feel a bit lonely because all their friends are busy partying and doing superficial things, and they feel a bit isolated. So if somebody feels like they don't belong to their social circle, what are some of the things that those people could do to not feel so isolated and not and feel part of something, feel part of a group of like-minded people?
I think that's a brilliant question right there. So the reason why I say it's a brilliant question is we live in a society where people are giving you negative connotations for actually feeling whatever it is you feel within your body, right? Or within your mind. Like you feel lonely, something's wrong with you. You have OCD tendencies, so there's something wrong with you. Here, take this pill. You have ADD or ADHD, or you're battling depression, or you're going through a midlife crisis, something's wrong with you. I don't see it that way. I see it first and foremost, understand that whatever emotion you're experiencing within your life, just be grateful for it. Understand that you are somebody who's in tune with what it is you're feeling. And I think that's such a great opportunity, because the moment you can be with the emotion that you're currently experiencing, awareness of the problem, if that's what you define it, but I say awareness of the opportunity is going to allow us to make clearer and better decisions that are going to enable us to control our emotions by reverse engineering our decisions and asking ourselves, what's causing us to experience this loneliness? What's causing me to experience this depression? And I'll get practical, as I love practical. I'm feeling lonely because I'm not surrounding myself with people who love me. I'm not surrounding myself with friends who really don't believe. Well, I'm surrounding myself with a group of friends who just believe I'm an acquaintance to them, and they're just tolerating my presence, versus surrounding myself with a group of friends who are really in tune with my values, my vision, helping me get there, and wanting me to succeed as much as they do. So, all right, I'm isolating myself. Why do I feel depressed? Well, I'm constantly worrying about how much money I have in my bank, which is a stupid focus. I really say that. It's a stupid focus. Your focus should not be on your lack of, but, you know, what can we do to create more abundance within your life? So your depression is focusing on your lack of, or you did something really wrong. All right, let's be aware of that. Now let's ask ourselves, what could we do to shift our focus, to shift how we feel? And it's going to be a practical decision that has to be made in the moment, right? If I feel depressed, let me just get excited, do something physiologically that's going to shift my state. Or, wow, my girlfriend or my boyfriend broke up with me. You know, I want to isolate myself. Let me just go to the gym, do a workout. Let me release some steam and transcend that emotion into something more powerful. So for anybody who's experiencing loneliness, this is practical for you guys. And one second, if you guys are watching the live stream right now, I want you guys to just post whatever questions you have going down here at the end of our chat. I'm going to answer a couple of you guys' questions. So I know Joshua asked one thing here, so we'll get into that. But yeah, so if you're feeling loneliness, you kind of butt out for a little bit. You're back?
Yeah. I'm here. You see?
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're experiencing loneliness, the first thing I would invite you to do is just go surround yourself with people.
Yeah,
just go into a public environment. And
you had a powerful thing in your book is you say something about you should stop focusing cutting people out of your life. You should focus on replacing them with the right people. I thought it was a very powerful statement. Instead of like feeling isolated and cutting yourself off to people, connect yourself with people.
Yeah, man. And I did that too. I've at the age of 20, when I just got started into personal development, like really investing and dropping dollars back into myself, I realized the people I'm surrounding myself with, 98% of them have nothing to do with where I want to grow. They're not growing, but I'm not judging them for it. I'm going to love them for who they are. Everyone has their own experience. but I'm just going to become the greatest version of myself, hopefully inspire some of these people because they'll still see me on social media. They're going to see me on Snapchat. They'll see me from time to time, right? I'll text them to see how they're doing from time to time because I got that love for them. But I'm just not going to surround myself with them as much as I'm going to surround myself with people who align with my values. If you're a person of growth, I want to call you my best friend. If you're a person of making sacrifices for the embodiment of not just your success, but for the growth of others, I want to spend as much time with you as possible. And I want to collaborate with you. I want to co-create with you. I want to understand who you are, and I want to help you grow. I want to give you everything I have and more. I just want to see you be successful. And through the process, I'm going to go throughout that process who's going to enable somebody else, which is a true story. One friend of mine seen my growth. I already had replaced a lot of my friends at this point. You know, I'm going to events. I'm on online forums. I'm going to stores and purchasing books. I'm going to work for a company that's all about personal growth and development, which was and is my real estate company. And literally one person messages me back, my best friend back in high school. And he says, bro, I've seen your transformation. Like, I've seen you come to class first day. I've seen you drinking Pepsis in class. You're fucking ripped. How'd you do that? But let me be honest with you. I'm battling Coke right now, a Coke addiction, but just watching your video and listening to you share your messages, I've been 3 months clean.
That's powerful.
To me, that was huge. I made one video. Somebody watched the video. I haven't seen that person in months. This person's already 3 months clean on Coke, off Coke. He's gotten into a job doing something that he loves. And I said, if anything else that I've experienced more than a social circle, I'm most grateful for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I know what I went through in my self-development journey, and I say don't be held back by your friends, inspire them. Because a lot of times I see myself reflected in other people. They make bad choices, they don't feel good, they have a bad lifestyle. And I want to preach and tell them what to do, but that doesn't work. You can only be like an inspiration for them, and maybe, you know, they get motivated, but just forcing people to change, that never works. So it's better to use it in a positive way as inspiration, and then the right people will come to you, than being mad at your friends who are not interested in the same better life as you do.
Yeah, that's a powerful statement right there, as you mentioned, and I'm confident too. You can relate to this in the beginning when you first start trying to do that. You know, the more you learn about something, you kind of just want to share it with everybody. Like, you read a book on sales, now you think you're a sales guy. You read a book on motivation, now it's like, I want to preach this to the world. But like you said, it's being humble enough to understand that everyone's on their own journey. And there's got to be a separation of when you do share it to the people who come to you for questions and want to change versus just being unaware of who they are and what they want. And you trying to share information with them. It's just like I'm talking to my wall back here. It's just going to stay the same.